also got Morningside where we installed a new sidewalk a couple of years ago. We're going to be paving that stretch this year. And then Dixon is also on the list, and we'll address it once the sidewalks are installed. We won't do that until after that's done. Trail construction in the area. Challaghee Trail, which connects in with the new extension of Frisco south of the MLK Tunnel. We're working on by the church right now. We've obtained some right-of-way from both them and Barnes Trucking there. So we're in the process of doing some grade work in there. We're removing the fence for Barnes Trucking today. So that fence is going up. And then we'll be paving that trail through there. That'll be all concrete and connect out. We're doing the crossing across South Government right now also. We've already got it. Most of the concrete, once we turn back to the west there behind those warehouses all the way over to Hill Street is complete. We got our crossing in on Hill Street 2 weeks ago. It's a red crossing. If you wonder why it's not raised, it kind of is depressed, and that's due to if we put a raised one in there, there's enough slope on the road that it would kind of been like the crossing on or that speed table by the old library that's on the hill. We won't ever do another one of those because it's kind of a launching pad. So if you're wondering why it's different, it's still got the same color concrete, but it's not raised, it's actually more depressed. So we're about 2 to 3 weeks connecting that, then we'll have a connection all the way over to Chick-fil-A along that trail. That'll be good.
Can we ask a question? So we want to wait.
I'm going to say 2 more things and then you can have that. Town Branch Trail. That one's south of the old Mr. Burger and Mama Dean's down there. Going behind it, goes over to Great House Park. That's a grant we received, and that's actually a contractor doing all that work. None of my crews will be in that area, but they will take it from there over to Great House Park. So that's, their work's well underway. You can start to make out where the trail is there. And then I was just going to announce, if you haven't been on the north end, they opened Skull Creek Trail the same time we opened the MLK Tunnel. And that's now connected all the way through Johnson, north of the Northwest Arkansas Mall, all the way over to essentially the big bridge across the dam at Lake Pheasant. So you can go from Walker Park all the way to there on the new trail right now. Anyway, those are some of the things going on, and then sure I'll be happy to take questions.
Hi. My question is, you're talking about repaving roads and stuff. There are an awful lot of roads that need repaired that I don't see anything happening. There's one right in front of Jefferson School that was just it was done about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now it's all pressed in.
So you're talking like a cut?
Well, there must have been something that they had to get through. Okay, they cut into the street, and then they. Yeah.
Is that on College or?
Yeah, it's on South College. And there's also on 7th Street where it joins, it's just before the parking lot there by the church and automotive place. That it's just terrible. I don't even go that way anymore. It's kind of like it was piled onto there, and my thing is that all over town is like that. I mean, I could name you because just about every street has something really bad on it. And how are those going to be addressed?
Well, I mean, I'll take these back, and when we go to put together the list for next year's project, we'll go look at these as well as any others that we find. Then we evaluate them and we go however part of the money we're allotted through the CIP program will allow us to go. This year we've got $1.8 million in there, but that gives us about $900 to $1 million worth of asphalt to buy. The rest of it pays for our equipment. So we see how far that goes and how much money we have in that program. One of the things that's going on is we've appropriated some money in other areas in the last couple of years due to there being so much construction in town. It's just how much more could the public stomach on being torn up at one time. So there's still a lot. So we're hoping to appropriate more into that in future years. But you never know. I mean, 10 years ago when I took over this division, we were paying $25 a ton for asphalt. It's now 50, and I don't expect it to go down. So, twice the money only buys us the same amount. But we evaluate all those every year, trying to decide which ones are the worst. That's one of the reasons we've instituted a microsurfacing program, and that is to try and take streets before they get in bad condition, but are starting to show some crackage. We can crack seal them, and then we can overlay this with a thin layer at about 40 to 50% reduction in cost for the same mileage, and hopefully extend that life another 10 years. So we're doing that. It doesn't help us on a street that's totally gone bad. Those we have to completely take.
College was just repaved about 5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that we can fix we do that just with our patch crews. We'll go in and look at that, and that's something we can fix rapidly.
I think the underlying issue is like with Huntsville Road and Rock Street, they were fine on the surface, and it was only after they were dug up or utilities or something that they then became very, more sunken.
We have issues with that, and not, a lot of the cuts are water departments, and we're working with them to develop it. We're actually going to start probably concreting those back instead of asphalting back, and do a T-patch where if we dig the ditch this wide for the top 8 inches, we'll dig it another foot on either side of that and hang that concrete over that, and then that would perform a T-patch. And on a 3 or 4 foot cut, it should act like a bridge and not sink. So that's something we just discussed last week, and something new we're getting ready to do. One of our issues is, though, we also have gas companies, telephone sometimes, cable do cut. And the big thing with all that is getting whoever repairs it to compact it back in a manner that it won't sink. But we're going to require those type of patches, so we hopefully in the future we're not dealing with that much, and that's also going to free up with the water department doing that, free my crews up to go find all those that have some, recompact them and re-asphalt top end. It should address it.
One question I had, are these problems that have been there a long time or because of our bad winter?
No. The one on South College right here in front of Jefferson School was cut into about maybe at the most 3 months ago.
Oh,
and
okay.
when they left it, the asphalt was kind of like this.
Uh-huh.
The streets here and the asphalt was up here. And then by now, 3 months later,
Well, we're working this process over. One of the things they did in the past, the water department did, they would put the material back, and then they put a temporary patch material in there. That wasn't ever meant to be permanent. But then they reported to us, and then, we may be getting 20 of those a week. So then as quick as we can put those in the queue and they come to the top, we go back in, dig that material out, and then we patch it with hot asphalt, which is much stronger and should stay level. So that was our previous process. The new concrete process should even alleviate that even more.
In South Fayetteville, a lot of gas meters are being moved from the street up against the homes, which some of you probably experienced. And I'm wondering, will the patch there be completed by the gas company, or do you guys have to do that?
See, all those are done by a private contractor. They're supposed to fix them in the manner we want. We're aware of those on Hill Street. There's 13 of them. I counted them the other day. There's a couple other streets got just as many. We're in the process of addressing that with them and how we get that done. So they're going to be fixed in a manner where they're not going to be. But even the best of those is still a temporary patch material. It's not the permanent asphalt patch. So those will get better. And we're working on how fast we can get that done.
Good.
Do we have any control over the replacement of those gas meters? I think everybody understands that things in their house.
I don't know that. Probably not. And they probably asked us if we wanted the gas gas service, but, we can ask, I'll tell Chris that, see if there's anything we can do.
And I would like to ask Southwest Street about
Yeah.
terrible condition there.
And it's the same way, those roads got potholes.
All right, any further questions for Terry? Yes, ma'am?
There are several of us here who live on East Avenida Street, which is at the very, very end of the city. And we have monumental flooding every time it rains. And I'm gonna come show you some pictures that I took.
What street did you say that was?
East Avenida, it's off Lewiswood Way. I took these pictures 8 days after the last rain. This is my yard, my side yard. This is 8 days after it rained. My entire side yard is completely flooded. My yard between my neighbors on the other side is completely flooded. Linda's house, her front yard is completely flooded. Mike's yard is completely flooded. Linda and Mike, I know for a fact, have complained to the city about this before. Nothing's been done, and we are so, my front yard, my side yard, fronts Lewiswood Lane, which goes to Mr. Spencer's house. My side yard has probably become depressed 2 or 3 inches in the 3 years that I've owned it from the water. We would really like the city to come out and address the problem.
And that's what you said before, the biggest problem with addressing that is we have no easements right away, other than just going down the street, we have no easements to take that water. It seems like the houses on the south side of the street are the worst, but there was a small pipe down near the end of the street that we looked at once before, but it drains on the neighbor across the street. So to ever address that, there's gonna have to be either some right of way or easement given to be able to take that water there. And I guess, my memory serves me correct, there's not a whole lot of fall even to the north behind those houses, are there? It's pretty flat.
That pipe was through my yard.
Huh?
That pipe was through my yard, and then the water would ultimately end up on Mr. Spencer if we went that
See
way.
on the north side?
He owns the farm.
But you're behind the fence, behind the houses? Is that your property?
Send any more water that way, gonna take out our driveway completely, looks like. But
Yeah.
you need some, might be able to help you with some easements, going to a manhole, if you need something there, it might cross our land going back to the highway. So,
Going back to the south?
yes, sir. Because the last house at the end of the Main Street, the sewer line goes back south to the manhole.
Well, we can't put it in the manhole, because that's a sanitary sewer. So
Oh.
we cannot use those, so those aren't an option. Because that goes straight to the sewer plant and it's treated water. There's all kinds of laws against putting stormwater in the sewers.
I'd like to say something, if you don't mind. My name's Linda Franklin. I've lived on Dunedin for 11 years. My husband is Gary. He would definitely be here, but he has health problems. He has lived there 38 years, the same house, the same street. When he first moved there, that was just a gravel road. There wasn't major flooding because the houses weren't all built, the driveways were not all built. But since that has been paved, the driveways are gravelled or paved, now we're all in a fishbowl, every house on the south especially, okay? Since I've lived there 11 years, I was so frightened because the trees on our east, all the roots was about 6 inches above the ground. Big oak trees, the roots was just huge above the ground. I had fears that they was going to fall on our house because the water just rushed right past them. So we have used dump trucks, topsoil, we put in river rock, trying to cover up those huge roots on all of our trees. That was one of the first things we addressed. Then also, I want you to know that all the people that live on our block are professional people. They all have good jobs, they're management, the assistant managers, we have a graphic designer, we have a fireman, we have a professional photographer, we have veterans. My point is, they all hardworking people, and we pay taxes just like all these other wonderful neighborhoods. But we feel like we are being elected because we're the only ones so far out with the last street. That's one of the problems. Another one is, we had to do the soil, we had to reseed the front yard. Every year since I've been there, we have reseeded the front yard, we have brought more dirt in, we've even put sod in. It always washes away. Also, we have privacy fence around our house. We had to cut the back privacy fence off with our neighbor's permission because floodwater stood in our backyard 1 foot. Every time it rained like an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, it was like super flood. We had the neighbors allowed us to cut our wooden fence off 12 inches, 1 foot, so our water could kind of escape. They have an incline down there that goes over the 16th to the culvert. Thank God for that, or else we would be floating all the time. Okay, that's one of the things that we had to do. One other thing we had to do, we had to dig 2 deep holes, one in front of our house, one in back of our house. We had to put a sump pump in both places. We had to do hoses everywhere. Every time it rains, I run outside, I turn the sump pumps on, and I go water the flower beds. I go over here to this spot, over here, trying to keep my grass, and I have beautiful flowers, trying to keep my flower gardens from dying, because our grass is usually always yellow. So we have to keep those going. And sometimes I have done that 3 days in a row, trying to get the water out of my front yard, out of my backyard, just distributed it so it won't flood everything on my house. That's one of the things. Also, we can't mow our lawns, just maybe a section here, a section there, because we'll get stuck. We have to wear water boots outside to feed our dogs. We have to wear water boots outside to get to our cars half the time. It's just kind of getting old. And these problems have continued for over 30 years. And we have called City Hall, we've asked, we have begged, nothing has ever been done. And once finally I have, like Morgan, I took pictures of every house there one time. They was all flooded. Every house on that street had water up to the driveway. Every house. I took pictures, I had them developed. I called the mayor's office, asked his secretary, would he please look at the pictures if I sent them. She assured me, oh yes, he'd be glad to. And so I left my number, my address, my name. We never heard anything by letter, by anyone knocking on the door, anything. On Monday, I called up there again just to see if they had a record of my letter, of my pictures, and of course nothing was ever found. So that's forgetting. Anyway, this is what my point is. Now, we're not asking for sidewalks. We're not asking for pretty flowers and pretty trees or walking paths or bike paths. We just want a drain ditch. That's all we're asking for. Whatever it takes, I think we'd all be willing to do whatever we had to get that done. I know I'm getting too old to go out there and do this every time it rains. Thank you.
I mean, it's not, it is a lake, literally a lake, every time it rains.
Okay, let's do this. Somebody give me a contact number, I will call you. What we'll do is we'll set up a meeting out there. I'll come out and you can physically show me the things to do. What I remember that is, the only way we're going to solve this probably was to take some type of drainage, probably to the north, behind the northern side houses, and get it in a field and move it out. So I remember that one pipe being down near the end of the road. There was one that crossed it, but that's really all there was in the water crossing the street. I'll be happy to come and look at it. So if you want to give me your name, I'll call you tomorrow, and then you can pick what time would work the best for everybody. Probably next week, set something up, and I'll come out and
That would be great. Morgan?
I would like to say that you're talking about a pipe, that pipe's been removed because it was a small white pipe that was plugged up.
Okay.
I brought a backhoe in and dug somewhat of a drainage ditch to try to get some of it out of my yard, so right now you're going to see a ditch, and when it rains any bit at all, now it's a river, and it goes right through my backyard.
We'll come out and look at it. we'll probably have to shoot some grade. What I remember is a lot of the yards are lower than the street. Those, I don't know how we're gonna drain those, because I mean, we can't move it uphill, so I don't know if that's going to entail you raising some of your yards with some topsoil so we get some grade where it goes. But I'll talk to you about all that when we get out there.
If you have to go through my yard, 'cause I seem like I'm the lowest one there, to reach that culvert under 16 on the back, you're welcome to do that, because I would like for you to look at my yard, 'cause it's the
We'll
lowest
look at
one.
everybody's yards out down the entire street. I'll coordinate with her and we'll set a meeting.
That'd be great.
One option to keep in mind is, like Linda said, there's a west one under Highway 16 in the east, down the south side of 16 to the White River,
Yeah.
and that's directly behind her, so that, to the south is not.
There's just one other house behind you that faces
And
the
they've already
highway.
agreed to help out, be a part of the.
Well, I mean, that's something we need, because if we were gonna do something like that, we're gonna definitely need an easement to get through there at this time. So,
Consider going east.
I don't know. Without shooting grades, it's gonna be impossible to tell. That's what I'm telling you. When I show up out there, I'll bring somebody with a transit, and we'll shoot some grades. We'll talk about all the issues, we'll shoot some grades, probably, maybe get a base idea, but we'll probably come back. I'm more than likely bring the stormwater engineer with me, Sarah Reed, and we can discuss it. That's gonna be easy. It's hard to do here, let's do it on site.
And I was just like, my yard, I experienced the same thing. I live down on Hannah Springs Road, and I jokingly call my neighborhood Cedar Bottoms, because we have so much water that sits down there. And Larry also is a neighborhood. Some things that I've done to help are, I put about 2,000 gallons of rainwater storage on my house so that I can collect the rainwater that I use in my garden at another time. I've gotten some free plants from the White River Watershed Coalition. They will come out and they gave me 75 trees, specifically of types that are designed to take up water out of the soil. Persimmons, pawpaw trees, and other water-loving trees. I'm also building rain gardens and places where to design so that the water will collect in a certain space and infiltrate. And so, it hasn't solved the problem, but it's helped. And I would recommend the city's actually published an annual called a Low Impact Development Manual that has a lot of these strategies and how-tos in it that could be helpful. And I believe we have this probably this available for free from our planning department.
I would encourage you to come out when Terry comes out and take a look at our yard, and then, and we'll look at that, absolutely. But I would encourage you to come out, because I have a feeling you're gonna find, and we're gonna find, that's not gonna be very helpful. Given, we are in a pretty rural part of the city. We have extremely large lots. For instance, my side yard probably has 15 100-plus-year-old pine trees. It's just not going to be practical or possible for me to plant a bunch of trees or to do the type of things that that's in that. But yeah, I would encourage you to come out and take a look.
What was the name of the thing that
The Low Impact Development Manual?
Yeah.
It was developed in conjunction with the Community Design Center, and it's designed to help people slow and spread and infiltrate stormwater using natural systems. And I believe you can get a copy from our planning department.
Okay, great.
It's very helpful. Okay, moving along. Adela, would you like to introduce the group?
Thank you so much for coming tonight. I'm proud that we have such a good crowd. I was concerned with the weather being as it was that we might not have many folks. So thank you so much. I think we're going to get taken care of things without having any huge weather event. I wanted to talk to you about several of the good things that have been happening in Ward 1. Of course, Mr. Gully has told you about a lot of the good things you want to hear about, and he's also the one that can take care of these, help you with these drainage problems. And I think that he will do that. He's a very, very helpful person. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on at Walker Park. Probably some of you have already been down there to see that we have new, very renovated restrooms as well as concession stands. I told Gary I'm sorry to say that our grandsons have outgrown it, so we won't be going down there too much, but I talked to Connie Edmondson, our director of Parks and Rec, and she said she'll go with me and take me and give me a tour anytime, because she's proud of it. So we have a lot of neat things. We spent about $150,000, I believe, on the renovation of the concession stand. I think they put new wood on the outside, kind of completely redid the inside. The restrooms are very much updated. My grandson tells me they needed it, so that's good. There's a patio area where you can sit outside and eat. And, last year they put the shades up, so that kept us from getting more sunburn when we're watching the game. So I'm excited about all the good things that have happened at Walker Park, which you probably have already been able to enjoy. And then, of course, Mr. Gully talked about the trail extension, which you, I bet, know about, but that's a part of the Razorback Greenway, and that was the one. Now, we've had two events planned and rained out because of weather, where we would cut the ribbon on the Walker improvements as well as the new trail. So you can be watching for that. It'll happen soon. But 2.5 miles of improved trail that we'll be doing.
Will you get any lighting all the way on the trail?
I don't know. I'll
You've been asking for that for years.
On which trail?
On the one that goes around Walker Park, there are some that they have installed right by the bridge. But, we were told when we had that thing several years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That we were gonna have lights go all the way around.
At Walker Park on the trail. I will inquire about that, and be sure and give me your name and phone number, or else I'll give you my card and you can call. Thank you. Okay, I have here, and Connie Edmondson gave us plenty of these activity guides, so if you don't have one, pick up one over here. It'll tell you everything that you need to know that's going to happen fun this summer. And then there's just this little cheat sheet here that has all of that kind of good stuff, like when the swimming pool opens. We've done a lot of improvements to our swimming pool too. But also Gully Park, we always have fun stuff happening at Gully Park starting on May 29th, and so all of the dates there, so you can put them on your calendar. So be sure and pick up these things and enjoy our parks this summer. Any other questions?
Oh, I can tell you about that. That's Frisbee golf. And the Frisbee golf people have been permission to...
Frisbee golf.
Yes.
In the wooded area?
Yes. And they're gonna have, they already have it on the, let's see, the north side.